Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be talking about the one-to-one program that Elkhart Community Schools is launching next year at both high schools and actually in the middle schools towards October as well. The information covered in this video is the same information that we shared with community members and parents and students at Elkhart Memorial High School on May 9th, and on May 3rd we did the same thing for the Elkhart Central Blue Blazers. My name is Wes Molyneux. I am the Director of Technology Integration for the Elkhart Community School District. I've been here about 2 years. Prior to that, I was Instructional Technology Coordinator at a high school in Chicagoland area, as well as taught biology and marine biology and anatomy and physiology. At that school, we did a iPad one-to-one rollout while I was there, and look forward to sort of the opportunities we have here in Elkhart with this new initiative. During the session that we ran at both Memorial and Central, we had an opportunity for parents to submit questions. We're not taking questions obviously here, but I wanted everybody to know about it because we will address some of these questions at the end of this video. And the questions that are available on our frequently asked questions sheet come from questions asked by parents and community members during these sessions. So what we want to start off with is talking about what a one-to-one program is and the difference between sort of a one-to-one program and just having technology in our building. So in a one-to-one, every student has a device. One student, one device, that's theirs, hence the one-to-one. But what it means is that that device is theirs to use during the school day and to take home with them in the evening. So it's their personal device. It's not a cart of computers that are being shared or a computer lab. And so we've had a lot of technology in our buildings, but this is unique because we're giving one device to one kid to really allow that student to personalize their learning and get creative. And so the next question is, if we're going one-to-one and we know what it is, why? What is so important that we're spending money to buy iPads for all of our students? And the integration of technology allows students to have real-world learning experiences while stimulating creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. And if we look at sort of this slide here, the top 10 skills that employers are looking at. If you look in 2015 and then now in 2020, this comes from the World Economic Forum, you can see that creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving, and then people management or collaboration, right, are all in the top 5. And so we want to make sure our students, when they graduate from Elkhart Community Schools, have these skills, and a one-to-one technology initiative really helps us sort of work with students and develop these skills. And as we provide ubiquitous access to a device, it allows our students access to the internet and other information that maybe they didn't have before. And we are leveling the playing field for all of our students so that every single one can have a similar experience. Teachers can use real-time assessments and quizzes so they can adjust their lessons on the fly in class or get some feedback right at the end of class or right at the beginning of class to sort of steer the direction to make sure that they're meeting their students where they are. And it also can allow students to sort of create amazing digital artifacts to demonstrate their learning. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And the other thing that it allows to have happen is we can have mutual expectations across the district. When everyone has a device, it allows for teachers to have certain expectations of students, to create digital learning artifacts, to participate in online discussions, and to perform more in-depth online research than ever before. But it also means that students can have higher expectations of their teachers, to include technology where appropriate and to enhance their learning environment, to bring in more real-world experiences to that classroom and allow the students the ability to personalize their talents, right? To create maybe a musical artifact or a digital artifact or use photos or videos or podcasts to sort of demonstrate what they've known and to bring in skills that they maybe have learned outside of school that the teacher didn't even know that they had. So how does the iPad actually transform learning? Well, First and foremost, it's an integrated device, right? This means that we have sort of the camera, video editing software, it can be a writing tool, it can be a research tool, it can be a tablet, it can be more like a computer. It does everything for our students. And so Safari allows our students to get on the internet. We also use Google Chrome to surf the web, to do research, to find information they need for their classroom. The camera right on the tool will allow our students to be able to take pictures of the world around them, to document their learning in their classrooms, and to really dive deep into what we call reflective learning and journaling and bringing literacy into everything that they're doing. Apps like Clips and iMovie are two that students can use to actually create movies and digital artifacts. For example, an English classroom, right? A student writes an essay. Right? But a teacher really wants to understand if the student fully comprehends sort of the metaphors and the deep understanding of the text. And if a student can then overlay images and videos as they read their essay, it becomes a video essay and can really model some powerful learning. Apps like Keynote, Pages, and Numbers all come free on the iPad, along with all the other ones I've mentioned. I used Keynote to sort of create these slides. Wonderful opportunities for students to get creative. iBooks, it's an immense sort of resource for our teachers to find and curate both free and books that cost money that allow us to share different knowledge. And right now our teachers are working hard on trying to find those resources both within the iBook store and across sort of the World Wide Web to curate those and bring those into our courses in meaningful ways. So GarageBand is one that a lot of people don't think about as being a powerful tool, but it really is, and in two specific ways. One, GarageBand is a great way to record voice, right? So if you're creating a podcast or running a reading log or a variety of different ways that students can record their own voice, it can be really important part of the classroom. And the other is there are a lot of teachers across the country that are having their students actually create music to model and demonstrate their understanding of a time in history, a mood in a book, the way a character might have felt, and sort of include that then in their video essays or in other things that they're doing. And again, another way for our students to demonstrate their creativity and to show a deeper understanding of a text or of historical events. And then the iPad really is one of the most accessible devices available to students, meaning that our students that have IEPs, dyslexia, or other learning disabilities, the iPad provides a wonderful opportunity for those students to modify the screen, to make changes in the text, to have the text read to them, to be able to speak and have the text appear on the iPad. But there are also a lot of built-in accessibility features in the iPad that our general education students can really take advantage of. So that's one of our things that we're excited about moving forward. In addition to all of the free apps that Apple has provided for us, we continue to use the Google Apps for Education tools like Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, and presentations. All wonderful, awesome, free tools available to our students and staff to continue to collaborate online and create really amazing projects. And again, all of these are free and available on the iPad, and one of the amazing pieces that allows this program to be successful. So one of the other questions we get often is sort of, will students be able to download whatever they want on the iPads? And the answer is no. The App Store itself, the Apple App Store, will be disabled, and students will not be able to download apps that they want. However, we do have a self-service or app portal where approved apps can be put in there and students can download those. We have a form online that allows our teachers to submit app requests into the service desk, and they go through a little bit of a evaluation process to make sure that they meet sort of the laws and regulations around security and privacy, as well as to make sure we don't have other apps that already do the same thing. And so then we approve those and they can go in that as well. So a big question that I think everybody wants to know is there going to be a cost to families with this? Well, a great effort has been made to make sure that the impact on individual families is as minimal as possible. The district is paying for the device, the keyboard, and the deployment of the apps and the cost to manage all of them. We know that there may be some areas where families feel additional costs because of this program, including We know there may be areas where families might feel additional costs because of this program, including optional insurance, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and perhaps Wi-Fi at home. And then the other question is sort of how will this impact student fees? We've already said that this shouldn't increase student fees, and the district is buying the iPads and not adding any additional fees to students. But students' fees typically fall into two major categories. The first is textbook charges and includes any curriculum that is loaned to a series of students and prorated over the number of years. This includes traditional textbooks and some digital textbook contracts. Textbooks that were adopted less than 6 years ago sort of fit in this cycle. As an example, this is what the social studies adoption from 2015 that parents find on the student textbook fee. The second category is consumable charges. That includes anything that's provided to a single student in a year's time, like a workbook that maybe they would write in that then wouldn't be used by a student in the following year. And so that would go into that category. There may come a time where there may be some apps or digital content that teachers want students to have that costs money, in which case those fees would be put on the student fee bill just like a workbook would be. But the hope is that overall there isn't a negative impact on student fees. So what is your student going to be receiving? Well, we're going to give them an iPad, a Bluetooth keyboard, and a charging block and a charging cable. All iPads are managed and tracked by the Technology Service Department, and iPads can be wiped and turned into a useless piece of metal if they aren't returned. Really, the design there is to decrease sort of the desire to steal them. This is the Elkhart Community School's asset tag. A couple things on here that are pretty cool. Number one, you can see the number at Elkhart right there. If somebody finds an iPad, they can call that number. The bottom number is the iPad's actual serial number or ID number that will allow us to track the device and know which device it is if somebody calls in. The 1-800 number that you see on the screen is actually the Apple Care Plus number. And we have a deal with Apple that we have Apple Care for 3 years. And so if a student is struggling at home with an app or an issue with their iPad, they can call this number 24 hours a day to receive help. And lastly, if a device is stolen, again, students can call the help desk and report that it's stolen, and the help desk can actually sort of track the device, shut it down, and make sure that nobody else can use it. So what happens if the iPad breaks? Well, damaged or lost items associated with the device should be reported immediately to the Technology Service Department. Like I said before, we have a 3-year contract with Apple Care, which helps us recuperate the cost of any sort of breaks. So we actually get 2 breaks for free. So those first 2 breaks won't cost anything. But if there is a cost incurred after that, students will be responsible for repairing those iPads. What happens if it's lost or stolen? Again, we want to make sure that it gets reported immediately because our service desk can hopefully track and find them. And the sooner that they're located, the better that we can do that. But the other thing is we have an optional insurance. So we're partnering with Worth Ave Insurance Group, and it's a recommended insurance that we think all families should take advantage of. It's $14, and it covers all sort of theft. So if an iPad gets stolen, this allows parents to not have to pay any deductible or any additional fees associated with that stolen iPad. An iPad costs about $325 for the district, and so if insurance is not purchased and the iPad is lost, families will be responsible for that $325 cost. So Wi-Fi is another big question we have, both for at home and at school. And we configure our iPads so they'll be filtered both on campus and off campus, meaning that by law we're required to filter our internet, particularly related to pornography and gambling sites and some additional categories that we block. And so Wi-Fi, again, when it's at home or at school, both will be filtered by the iPad itself. But we do know that not every family has Wi-Fi at home, and here are just a few locations that we gathered around the city of Elkhart that have free Wi-Fi for their patrons, and in some instances, even the students that want to show up and get some homework done. Now, we know that that's not feasible for every student every single night to traverse out of their house across town or down the street to find Wi-Fi. And so we want to make sure we have a good understanding of sort of expectations with teachers and students around what that means. In addition, a lot of internet companies, including Xfinity, which is what internetessentials.com is through, provides low-cost, high-speed internet for families that are on the free or reduced lunch list. And we hope that families are able to take advantage of that. We know that $9.95 is still a hefty cost for many families. And again, the expectations and conversations that we're having with our teachers and staff around sort of appropriate homework is really important. And the last thing is really thinking about sort of access to other devices. Do students have cell phones where they can have access to at least the Canvas app, and then they can use the iPad for homework? I think that was one of the pieces that the committee that chose the iPad liked, was that a lot of the work on the iPad is actually happening offline, and so students can actually complete their homework without internet access, although from an instructional standpoint, we really want to encourage families wherever possible to get internet for their students. And so as we sort of aim to wrap up here, we wanted to just call attention out to a couple of things that we're doing here at school that we hope will help with your child anywhere they go, because we know that the device that we're giving them is going to go home with them. And because of that, we're really working hard to educate them on sort of digital literacy and digital citizenship. And the idea to help our students not only find and evaluate and share content for school, but also how to behave ethically and responsibly online, so that we don't have any issues of bullying and things like that. So we want all of our Elkhart students to create a positive digital identity online. There are examples every single week, it seems like, in the news where professional athletes or politicians are getting themselves in trouble by posting things online that maybe not even instant now, but 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago in their lives that might come back and have an impact on that. A recent example, actually, in the NFL draft, if you're interested, of that. And so we want to make sure that our students currently in high school are posting things that are positive, so it doesn't negatively affect their chances of getting into college or finding a job. And we want our students to use ethical behavior online, not just around copyright laws and not copying work or taking images that don't belong to them, but also sort of in their behavior and how they interact with their peers and others online. And specifically, understanding digital privacy and security is so important right now. If you think about the fact that Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook was testifying in Congress just a few weeks ago around sort of their privacy laws and how much data and information we as individuals make available to companies without necessarily thinking about it. And so we want to make sure that our students understand sort of what they're signing up for when they sign up for different apps and when they create accounts, and how to sort of help keep their personal identity more secure. And lastly, of course, we want our students to treat their devices with care. Now, as we move into next year, these are really 4 bullet points that talk about sort of the daily expectations for students. We want them to be checking Canvas regularly, which is our learning management system where we expect our teachers to be posting assignments, discussions, information from class, posting website links and PDF documents and information that they have curated for their class to use. And in return, we're expecting also students to come every day with their iPad and have it charged. That's a big deal. If teachers are designing curriculum to take advantage of the iPad, we need our students coming to school every single day with their iPad and having it charged. These last two sort of are pretty specific. We want to make sure that our students know their passwords and their usernames for all of their materials, for Canvas, for Google, for any other accounts that they're using for learning, so they are able to take part in everything that their teachers are asking them to. And again, we want to teach students to keep their iPads safe and not break them, and that's that last one kind of talks about. So I mentioned Canvas briefly for a few minutes around it being the learning management system. And what that means is it's a digital place where students and teachers can go to sort of meet and collaborate online. Teachers can create quizzes and digital assessments. They can post up articles to read. They can post discussion questions. They can have discussion boards. And then obviously assignments can be turned in there if kids are making videos or audio files, if they're doing papers. All of those things can then be turned into Canvas in a digital way. There's also a parent app that goes along with this, and if you look at our FAQs as well as our one-to-one parent handout, there's information on how to sign up for a parent account. But you'll go to elkhart.instructure.com and click on the top right corner. It asks for sort of parent account. You will need your student's password information and username. So we suggest sitting down and doing this with your student. Provides a great opportunity for that conversation. Say, hey, I'm logging into Canvas, I'm making an account, and I'm going to be able to sort of audit and see what's going on in your class and keep tabs on what you're doing. It's a pretty exciting opportunity. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope that it was informative and you were able to learn a little more about the one-to-one iPad program that is rolling out to the high schools in August. Pierre Moran has been one-to-one all year long this year, and will be one-to-one next year. Both North Side and West Side middle schools will be one-to-one in October. So look for some parent meetings going on at those three schools next fall as we look to share out some more information. Thanks so much.